The Carlton Football Club have done it again, faded away, not in the second half, but this time in the last quarter in their loss to North Melbourne. This is happening too many times now. Disgusting performances in second half, not being able to run out games, and we know what that means with a big club like Carlton. Fans are going to come for the senior coach, and all this pressure, unfortunately, most certainly means that Michael Voss, his tenure as their head coach of the Carlton Football Club, could be coming to an end very, very shortly. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Up the Guts YouTube channel. Joining you here as always is Trent Alton, or some of you might know me as Tricky. And yes, it is time now that we have a video and discuss the situation at the Carlton Football Club and Michael Voss. There is no beating around the bush that his time is coming to an end very shortly unless something dramatically changes in the next week or two where they get a couple of wins and go on a roll and we start seeing some footy where they can run out full games and start winning games, because fans are really coming for his head. So what I want to do here today is talk about the coaches that are available that could be taking over his role and would be in real good talks that people are talking about to take his role, but also people that clubs should be asking the question of. So we'll not only talk about the Ex AFL coaches, but we'll talk about the up and coming assistant coaches from each club that could be, and they have been in the ranks for a while now. And while they have gone for senior jobs and fallen short in the last steps to the running, one of the well-renowned at their club and next up to potentially be a senior coach in the future. So we'll go over all of them and then let me know in the comments, who do you think would best suit it and when do you think Michael Voss will be finishing? So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Now, obviously the obvious thing would be to go with an ex-AFL coach. And while this coach said he wouldn't do it, they have an ex-AFL coach in their football club, in the coaching department of some sort now, not in a full-time role, in a part-time role, and that is Adam Simpson. Now, we know Adam Simpson on AFL 360 said last week that when he took this role with Carlton, he said he couldn't and wouldn't coach this club because he just couldn't do that, taking Michael Voss's job while he was working under him. But his resume speaks for itself, although it was hard years for him at the West Coast in the back end of his career. He's a premiership coach, 242 games to the West Coast, coach of the West Coast. He has a record of 122 wins, 119 losses, and 1 draw, which is 50.41% win-loss winning records, just over the 0.5%, and a lot of that would have come down to those last 2 to 3 years when they were struggling. I know he's already said it, but you can't not flag him in this discussion. And then obviously there is John Longmire, one of the more smartest and strategic coaches, I think, of some recent time. 332 games coached the Sydney Swans, obviously a former North Melbourne player. He coached them to the 2012 premiership. Coached them to four grand finals, I want to say, 2012, 14. Yeah, 4 grand finals, only won the 1. So that's the only knock on him. He only got 1 from 4. But he's the 2012-2014 Coach of the Year. Has a record of 207 wins, 122 losses, and 3 draws at a percentage of 62.35%. Now, we don't know if John Longmire wants to coach again, but Carlton would be stupid not to be asking the question of John Longmire, or some of you might know me as Horse, because what a coach he was to the Sydney Swans for a very long time. And then obviously working in the media right now, he's had a plenty to say. Former coach, fresh out of it, former coach of Port Adelaide, Ken Hinkley. Ken Hinkley was a really good coach, and he was known to getting Port Adelaide to prelims, but then not being able to take the next step to the grand final. So 297 games, 174 and wins, 123 losses at a 58.59 winning percentage. He was a 2013 and 20 Coach of the Year. And while that's always a knock that he couldn't get it, you can't knock how long Port Adelaide were up there under Ken Hinkley, and getting to a prelim is never easy. Some argue that winning a prelim is harder than winning the grand final. But Ken Hinkley is there. Would he want to coach? I can guarantee you he would be dumb not to pick up the phone, and I think he would engage in an interview process if that opportunity came up. He looks like he's loving his time in the media, but he just still has that coaching nous when you listen to him talk. And then you go over to Geelong. Nathan Buckley in his role over there. If we just pull this up right now, Nathan Buckley's assistant coach over there didn't have what he was. I'm assuming he's the midfield's assistant coach. But what was I going to say? Albert everyone thinks he's pretty much locked in for the Tasmania job. But a lot of things can change when they're coming in the competition. What is it? 2 years they're still coming in. They just started playing in the VFL and on a hot run out of Tasmanians. Do not knock Nathan Buckley out of this. Just don't just think Nathan Buckley, okay, he's locked in automatically for the Tasmanian job, because they could want to go with someone else. They could want to go with someone fresh. They could even go with some of the ex-coaches that I just announced then. But Nathan Buckley had an up and down coaching career at the Pies. Took out all of the Rat Pack. Started off really taking over premiership coach Mick Moldhouse. Struggled early. Then found his groove for a couple of seasons and then struggled again before he was pretty much shown the door. 218 games at Collingwood. Record of 117 wins, 99 losses, 2 draws, 53.67 winning percentage. And he was a 2018 Coach of the Year when they made it to that grand final. But unfortunately, as much as it hurts me to say, choking in that second half against the West Coast Eagles. So those are all the ex AFL coaches that are still around that they can be picking up the phone. But let's have a deep dive. Let's go even deeper. Let's go find the next Craig McRae. Let's go find the next Andrew McCulter. Let's go find the next Adam Uze, and let's go have a deep dive into the assistant coaches at other clubs right now. Right, so at the Adelaide Crows, you hear a lot. What I've gone across to most clubs and picked out one that have got excellent resumes, or ones that you hear a lot of talk about with what they do at the club and how they impact it. So Adelaide, I've gone with Scott Burns. He is the forwards coach down in the Adelaide Crows, and with his playing career has ties to the Magpies, 265 games for the Collingwood, and even was a captain for the one season, the 2007 season. But his coaching career goes straight after he finished playing, basically 2008 to 2013. He was the West Coast Eagles assistant coach. Missed out on the season, so he originally went for that senior coaching role at the West Coast Eagles after spending 5 seasons there. But Adam Simpson was the one picked ahead of him. So after that, he went back to where he played Collingwood. 2013 to 2017 was an assistant coach. Then made the move over to Hawthorn. In 2018 was the midfield coach. Then 2019, he was the Hawthorn's forward coach. And the 2020 to now is obviously the assistant coach at the Adelaide Crows. There's always a lot of talk about his development. He's had some development roles in this, and just the way he connects with players. So Scott Burns is definitely one to have a look at. Another one that I'm not sure on their actual coaching ability, but one name that just won't go away, and he's from the Brisbane Lions, is Danny Daly, the general manager of football down there at the Brisbane Lions. Now, we just keep hearing he's such a good people's person, and he would be the perfect coaching role. I'm not going to say I know all about Danny Daly, but he's just a name that won't go away. Excellent people's person, problem solves, knows how to work as a team, knows how to get shit done as a GM. So do not write off Danny Daly, although he hasn't said yes or no whether he wants to coach. He's just a name that just won't go away, so he has to be on this list. The 2 more coaches at Brisbane that tickled my fancy or took my notice when I had a look, and one that I've heard, Cameron Bruce, who's the midfield coach down there. Now, Cameron Bruce had a really good career, predominantly at Melbourne, 234 games for Melbourne, and then a haul from the back end. He was the 2018 Melbourne Best and Fairest in the season that he was captain as well. But in his coaching journey, 2018, he was the Hawthorn development coach. And then straight after that, he was upgraded to an assistant coach with the midfielders at the Hawks. Then moved over to the Carlton Football Club from 2017 to 2021 and 2021 to the present. So there's another one that you need to keep an eye on as well. And the other one, the Brisbane Lions, only reasonably fresh out of the game. And someone who you would have loved to have as your teammate when he was playing heart and soul is Dale Morris. His playing career, obviously 253 games for the Western Bulldogs, a 2008 All-Australian centre-half back or fullback, 2016 Premiership player, and 2023 was inducted into the Western Bulldogs Hall of Fame. Now, his coaching career, though, 2019 to 2023, he was the Brisbane Lions development coach, and then they saw how well he worked with developing players, working well as a team. They saw geez, he's got some smarts, and then they elevate him to the assistant coach of the back. So while he might not be ready right now, keep an eye out for Dale Morris going into the future. Now we head over to the Collingwood Football Club, and one name that's also been in the mix for one of the people who's next up to be a coach is Hayden Skipworth, who's the head of strategy at the Collingwood Football Club. Now, he did play AFL, but only in a short stint, played 55 games with Adelaide and Essendon. He moved into coaching shortly after his career ended in 2009. He began as a development coach with the Bombers and then coached both Bendigo Gold and Bendigo Bombers in the VFL from 2020-2016 in ties with the Essendon Football Club. He then moved to the Essendon AFL coaching ranks as an assistant. And then he came over to the Pies to look over the midfield. So he came over to the Pies in 2020 to come over and take care of Collingwood's midfield. And Collingwood's midfield has had question marks around it. I understand that, but with the limited abilities that they had, and during the premiership year, they were really good. So Hayden Skipworth's another one to keep an eye on. Now, you mentioned Nathan Buckley at Geelong, and then we go across to another person who only recent into the coaching journey after just retiring, but he has made an immediate impact and is another one whose name just keeps getting thrown around, and that's Sean Grigg from the Gold Coast Suns. Sean Grigg joined the Suns as an assistant coach at the end of 2023 after spending 4 years with Geelong, both as a development coach in 2019 and 2021, and then as an assistant coach in 2021 and 2023, and helping the Caps claim the 2022 premiership in that time. And all the talks around him was he was a key figure in that 2021 premiership. His strategy in helping, I believe he was helping the backs and the mids. He was a key figure in that. You just couldn't go anywhere without hearing his name. He also played, obviously, in his playing career, 214 games with both Carlton and Richmond, and most notably known as a premiership ruckman standing at 6'2", premiership ruckman in the 2017 Richmond season as well. And then he now is across to the Gold Coast Suns in a midfield role. He's another one, just like who did I mention? Just like Dale Morris. While it might not be yet, he's one to keep an eye on because he keeps getting mentioned around and around. Now, Hawthorn, I've got two as well. I've only got one written down, but the second one just came to my mind now, and I'm like, how did I miss this name when I was looking at it? First one is Cade Simpson. He's in charge of the defenders at the Hawthorn Football Club at the moment. Obviously, decorated career at the Carlton Football Club. 342 games for the Blues, and he was a 2013 Brownlow medalist. Then went straight after that, went into coaching. He was the assistant coach for the Carlton AFLW. Now he's made the switch over to 2023. Since 2023 to now with the Hawthorn, and everyone says his knowledge of the game, the way he communicates in a calm manner. He's not a yell and a scream, but he's a calm person. Sets him up perfectly to be a future senior coach. And the other one is someone who's been in the coaching ranks, gone for head jobs. Everyone keeps saying he's next, and he's currently now the head of development at Hawthorn. Just the start of this season, actually the 2026 season, after spending 6 seasons at Essendon, is Daniel Janzira-Kusa. Now, Daniel Janzira-Kusa played his career obviously at the Western Bulldogs, but he's really made an impact, and everyone at Essendon spoke so highly of Daniel Janzira-Kusa. And now, while he's not in a coaching role as such, he's a head of development. Do not write him out with someone putting his name forward to try and go for this Carlton senior job. And the Melbourne Demons, they have got Jared Rivers, and someone who's got a really good coaching record as well. Being a Collingwood supporter, I know of him pretty well as well. His playing career, 194 games with Demons and Geelong. But his coaching journey, 2016 to 2017, he was the Collingwood development coach. Then was elevated from 2017 to 2019 as the Collingwood VFL coach. That's where I saw a lot of his work done and was really impressed with him there. Then went back to the VAFA and head coached in 2020 to 23, the old Collegians. Helped them to a premiership as well. And now was 2024-2025 assistant coach at the St Kilda Football Club. And now he's back at where he started, where he played some footy at in the Demons. So Jared Rivers is another one who gets a lot of talk, and he's one to look out for. Now, this one I'm very confident about that he will be a great senior coach. Being a podcaster, loving everything that Dylan Buckley, Footy and Friends, it is Michael Barlow, the North Melbourne midfield coach, just recently this season being elevated from the head of development at North Melbourne to an assistant coach, taking control of the midfields, and was a great player too. 141 games for Fremantle and Gold Coast. He's a 3-time Ross Glendinning medalist in those derbies between Fremantle and West Coast, and he was a 2010 AFL PA best first year player. Most notably was the 2021 to 23 Werribee VFL coach, coaching him to a premiership and helping the likes of Sean Manor get into the AFL at the age of, I want to say it was 20, he was over 26 or 28, and now doing great things is Sean Manor. Obviously kicked 6 and had about 28 in that grand final, and broke that. That was a drought that Werribee had. So Michael Barlow played a key figure in that. And then, as I mentioned, went over to North Melbourne as the head of development, and now has been elevated to the midfield coaching role of North Melbourne. We can already see what he was able to do at Werribee. Werribee is a non-affiliated club, and Michael Barlow was able to do that with a non-affiliated club coming up against the likes of the Gold Coast Suns, who were packed with their academy, and all the other great VFL sides, the Western Bulldogs or the Footscray as they're known in the VFL. So Michael Barlow has to be a high candidate, I think, for this role as well. If not Carlton, Essendon's one wouldn't be far off, Michael. Brad Scott, you're in the same position as Michael Voss. So if he doesn't get this one, he might come knocking on Essendon's door. But Michael Barlow, I think, will make a great head coach of any club in the future. Now, the Tigers, with their developing young players list, it would be a given that they have to have good coaches around them to help develop these young sort of players. And one of them is absolutely, both of them are exceptional, but one of them you hear he was a key player during Richmond's grand final run. That's Blake Caracella. He's in control of the midfielders. 187 games for Essendon, Brisbane, and Collingwood in his playing career. A 2-time premiership player. And what everyone says about him is he's ultimate smart. The way he sees the game is strategic, and as I said, apparently played a big factor in the way they moved the footy during those premiership years for the Tigers, 2017, 19, and 20. 2007 to 2009, he was the Collingwood assistant coach, then made the move over to Geelong as an assistant coach in charge of the forwards from 2010 to 2016, then made the move over to Richmond from 2017 to 2019 as an assistant coach. As I said, had an impact on the way they played and moved the ball. Then made the way over to Essendon as a assistant coach from 2020 to 2023, was elevated to the VFL senior coaching role for the Bombers in 2024, then has made his way back to the Tigers, Richmond assistant coach. I also think Blake Caracella would make a great coach, and I think he would. He's one that could come knocking for this job, as could his teammate in the coaching ranks here, former player of the Richmond Tigers, former captain of the Tigers, and fun fact, my next door neighbour was his father, and that is Chris Newman. He's in charge of the forwards at the moment and had a decorated career, in my opinion. 268 games at Richmond, 2009 to 2012 Richmond captain, and has a great coaching resume this earlier on as well, most notably for his time at Box Hill in the VFL, helping the likes of Jai Newcombe get picked up from Poowong over to the Hawthorns list. So 2016, the Hawthorn development coach. 2017 to 2023, went over and did the Box Hill VFL senior coach. 2017 VFL coach of the year. 2018 VFL premiership coach, so immediately made an impact with his time there. And 2024 to now made his way back over to the Tigers as an assistant coaching role in charge of the forwards. So like Michael Barlow, he's already made that impact at VFL level. Coach of the year, then followed up with a premiership. So I think Chris Newman would be another great candidate for the Carlton job if Michael Voss's time comes up, which we do think, if it keeps going the way it is, could come sooner rather than later. Who do you think is the next up-and-coming AFL senior coach, whether it's at Carlton or whether it's at another club? Who do you think that is? Drop who you think in the comments and let me know, who do you think the first coach will be to get sacked and when do you think that will be? But that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching along. Make sure you're following us on all our socials for behind the scenes action. So Instagram and TikTok, up the guts _ is where you can find all of that. And please, guys, remember to leave a like and comment on this video, as that does, the algorithm is really liking likes and comments, so make sure you're smashing them. Hit that subscribe button as we race towards 400 subscribers, and turn on the notification bell so you're notified whenever we upload. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, I'll see you guys then.